Welcome back, everyone, to Monsters Den. Today, we are discussing Berserk Deluxe Edition 4, aka Volumes 10, 11, and 12. I am Hazar, and with me today is, for the fourth time in a row, Kai the Crusader.
Yeah.
He's on such a
Hello, guys.
great streak right now.
I am. I think. Am I the one who's been hosted the most so far on your channel?
Because of this series, you definitely are now.
Hell yeah.
I think it
Like,
used to
I
be
gotta find
Mark.
other series for you to read, like Vinland Saga and
Yeah, there's
uh
there's a couple more planned for
Hellsing
sure.
and whatnot. Drifters,
We
Goblin
got a
Slayer.
plethora to go through.
We got a shit ton of stuff that I could recommend.
All right, so
Vagabond, Blade of the Immortal,
everything. But for those
everything.
to pick it to
Warhammer.
okay, man, that's too far. To catch you
No.
guys up, we discussed in the previous Deluxe Edition 3, which was Volume 9. We ended off with Guts and Casca being in an intimate relationship, and Volume 10 picks up from there and continues the story onward.
Yep. So pretty much it picks up like as the after morning. Like the next morning they wake up and they're like, yeah, that happened. We did it. And you get a nice little moment between them where Guts is basically like, hey, why don't you come with me?
So in that particular a scene in Volume 10. I have 3 points here I want to discuss about that scene. So the very first one is I really liked the philosophy that Guts learned from Godo, which was the blacksmith, the very old one.
Yep.
And I think I saw this reference in Dark Souls and I've heard it before, but to see where it came from, I really like it. It's the philosophy of he just picked up the hammer one day, kept going at it, and before he knew it, he was an old man.
Yep. He just kept doing the thing that he liked doing. And he wasn't
Mhm.
even sure if he liked it or not. He was just like, I just kept doing it and I wanted to get better. And that was it.
Yeah, that's all he cared about. He just kept doing it onward. It's such a simple philosophy, but it's so powerful and straightforward that it affected Guts. Because my second point here is what makes Guts happy, and he mentioned it's the sparks of the battlefield
Mhm.
or the sparks of battle. So likewise,
Exactly.
he
When
is
he's in
starting
like
to
a
realize
life
what
or
is
death
his
situation.
yeah, he's starting to find what is his fundamental happiness.
Mhm.
And in that
Because
regard,
like in a sense, Guts has now been exposed by two sides of the same coin. Where with Griffith, it's someone who has this huge dream, right? He's like, I want to be king. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really difficult to get it, but I will do it. I'm going to keep chasing after it as much as I can. And now he's been exposed to Godo, whose dream was, I just wanted to get good at something. It was no like big, huge dream. It wasn't anything important. It was just something that he himself enjoyed. And so he just did the thing that he liked to do, which was just blacksmithing.
yeah, and I kind of feel this is the more I read this, the more I really feel this was written by a mangaka, which it obviously is. When I think about the context of who we're reading from, which is Mira, an artist slash mangaka whose passion is just keep going and draw this crazy ass art. It kind of makes sense how kind
Hmm.
of Mura puts a lot of himself in Guts, and this was kind of his avenue, saying the way Guts picks up the sword and keeps fighting is how he wakes up every day, picks up the pen, and keeps drawing.
Yep, just keeps doing his thing.
Yeah, I think it's
Which,
kind
if
of
you
an
know his
unintentional
work
skill of
habits,
the author.
d- exactly, and especially if you know his working habits during like this time in particular, where he was doing something like 16-hour days.
Yeah, insane stuff.
Yeah, like it was crazy. Where he would wake up at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, work for like 16 hours, eat dinner, then work for as long as he can until he passed out, sleeps, then wakes up at 3 o'clock again and just does it all again.
Yeah, but uh, I kind of want to add. I want to add on a little bit more with what I said with Guts because Guts is not like Godo. because Goto, the only thing that truly looks like it makes him happy is smithing. But I think Guts' journey of figuring out what makes him happy, I think swinging the sword is the start.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a couple things in his character where you realize like he wants a little bit more than that.
Exactly.
Kind of
There,
a
and you
reason to
see that
swing.
you start seeing that when he returns to the Band of the Hawk, and he's like, "Huh, I kind of miss this. I like having friends around and people around me. This is kind of nice."
Yeah. So I think the whole fighting thing is only a part of his happiness,
Mhm.
so to speak.
It is like it is a tool in his toolbox to achieve his happiness, but yet he has yet to figure out what his happiness is. He just
Yeah.
has the tools to achieve it. He just doesn't know how to build it.
Yeah, well put. And the last note I have here, and this was pointing out more towards the end of the conversation, is I kind of realized, right? Because you have Griffith, who from his very first speech, he is very clearly an ambitious person with a very high goal.
Mhm.
He kind of knows he mostly knows what he wants. I think. Then we have
Mhm.
Guts later figure out he wants to go on that journey to figure out what is his dream. And even though he's still in the process, he made a lot of progress on the way to this volume.
Mhm.
And then I started thinking, because even Guts kind of pointed it out a little bit, Casca really has no foundational dreams. She has
No,
goals.
her well, I was gonna say her dream, but it's not really a dream. Her uh goal, I suppose. Like the only thing she sees herself as value towards is Griffith as being like his sword, as she always put herself as. It's
Hmm.
like I want to be his sword, I want to be his right hand man. Anything and everything he needs done, I will do it. But it's almost like the relationship between her and uh Griffith is like what we've mentioned before, where it's more of like a worship thing, where it's
Yeah,
very one-sided. Like Griffith is just like, oh yeah, she's just kind of there, and I use her, she's useful, but she dies. Yeah, it sucks, but I could always get another tool.
yeah,
While Tugaska, like if anything happens to Griffith, she freaks the fuck out. She's
yeah.
worried.
It's it's kind of cruel way of putting it, but you're right. And even Casca was constantly she was started to berating Guts, being like, "Oh yeah, you're just gonna leave again, aren't you?" Until Guts confronts her and saying, "Well, why don't you just come with me if you care about me that much?"
Mhm.
And in that moment,
And
it did
before
make me
that,
realize, like,
she even points out, like, you've turned into Griffith. Like, you're becoming more and more like him, or you're chasing dreams and doing the things that you want to do. And then she kind of snaps at him, throwing the leaves in his face and all that. I mean, like, why are you guys always stuff? Well, yeah. Why do you guys always want to chase dreams? What's wrong with being like with everyone else? And that's when Guts chimed in. Well, like, well, why don't you just come with me?
yeah. And she later kind of points out, at least maybe vaguely, that it's selfish to have those dreams because she has responsibilities. And
Hmm.
when you think about what she's been through, she sacrificed her sanity to run the Hawk on her own and also try to save Griffith.
Hmm.
Like I don't think
She's
I call her out, but saying she has no dreams because I don't think she ever afforded herself the ability to think about dreams.
no, it's uh this isn't really anything to do with Berserk
Mhm.
or Dark Souls, as I was gonna say. But I remember seeing a clip on YouTube, and it always kind of struck a chord with me. Whereas a dude, he's just like talking to an old man about like life and whatnot, and what he would do differently. And the old man mentioned how like with life, things get so busy that you kind of forget to live your life.
Yeah,
And that's kind of where Casca is that moment where she's letting the responsibilities and the busyness of the world get to her so much that she's forgetting to live her own life.
yeah. She has no direction, so she ends up getting just directed.
Exactly. Where it's one shit show after the next, and she's just constantly trying to put out fires and constantly trying to help people or do whatever it is she needs to do, that she's forgetting, like, well, wait a minute, what is it that you want out of life? Which is
Yeah,
part of the same reason why Guts left the Band of the Hawks, because he realized that, where he's like, well, if I want to pursue something that I want to pursue and get good at something, I can't stick with the band of the Hawks. Because if I'm always with the band of the Hawks, I'm going to be in Casca's position where I'm constantly trying to put out fires. I'm constantly doing this. I'm constantly doing that. I can't focus on myself and try and figure out what it is that I want out of this world.
Mm-hmm. That's very well put. And so yeah, I thought this little scene was a good highlight of both Guts and Casca. Of here's how far Guts has come. He still needs more time to go, but look how far he went already, and how Casca is kind of like a reflection of what Guts used to be, of someone who really didn't have those dreams.
Mhm.
So interesting highlight.
Yeah, and you could really see how much Griffith has rubbed off on Guts at this point.
Yeah. So I have the next point here. How Griffith views Guts at the moment. Was the scene where you got to see a glimpse of what is Griffith going through on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And it's a massive flashback of, well, not a flashback, but I guess a compilation of what has happened in this past year. Of he got tortured constantly with no light, no hope, and no anything. But the only thing that kind of kept him going was Guts. But it's a little mixed on what's going on, because he both loathes and kind of looks up to Guts
Mhm.
simultaneously. And it's kind of the thing where he keeps going because he wants to kind of, he doesn't want to let him down, but he also wants to spite him at the same time. It's such a strange
Exactly.
dichotomy.
It's such a weird relationship that Griffith has with Guts at this point, where it's like, because Guts still straight up loves Griffith as a friend. You know, he's still like, oh no, we got to go save him. He's my buddy. Like, let's go get him. Whereas Griffith is like, I love you, but I want to end you. Because in Griffith's eyes, everything that's happened to him so far is because of Guts,
Mm-hmm.
not because of his own reckless actions. He could have very much well just not fucked the princess, but instead he chose to do that.
Oopsie daisy.
Yep. And then he's blaming his friend for him making poor decisions.
So you keep bringing up how Casca is yandere towards Griffith, and I'm still not quite using the word yandere, because when I think of yandere, I feel that's closer to the relationship between Griffith and Guts.
Yeah, I could see that with Griffith being like super crazy for Guts in a weird way.
It's really twisted.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that Casca has a yandere type relationship with Griffith now that I think about it, so much so as it's like a worshiper and a god type relationship where she
Yeah,
worships him
it's
through and through.
extremely dependent.
Yeah, extremely dependent
Unfortunate.
to the point where no matter what Griffith will do, she will probably just follow anyway.
Exactly. All right. I have my next point here. Unless you want to talk about anything about the torture scene, honestly, whatever for me.
Bloodborne. That's about it. uh, the the little dudes that come out of the wall are the same little dudes that you see in Bloodborne that run the nightmare and give you your tools and equipment and whatnot.
One,
Again, it's very much so like From Software being like, hey, you remember Berserk? We like Berserk. Here's these little dudes. Guess what? They run a shop for you now. Go buy stuff.
they built an entire franchise on it at this point of their love of
Yep.
Berserk.
For their love of Berserk. Although I will say the ones in Bloodborne are a lot cuter and a lot sweeter than the ones in Berserk.
That's fair. Okay, so I have my next bulletin point. I'm going to be skipping around a lot because this is one of these action scenes that is more worth experiencing moment to moment rather than explaining it all, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
It's less of a discussion point, it's just more of a thing like it's cool seeing all this unfold. So, my bulletin point that I have here is called Hawk Teamwork. And this is the beginning of everyone trying to break out Griffith.
Mhm.
You get
Where you
to,
start to see like the strength of each individual member, like Pippin's strength when he's the one who's able to move tombstones and hidden doors and whatnot. judo,
Hmm.
where he's able to tell like what direction the wind's blowing and shit like that.
Yeah, and kind of acts as a soft leader, really, in
Hmm.
this small crew. And in addition, they meet up with Charlotte as well, so you get to see a little bit of her own kind of side.
Hmm.
And
And you get to see her kind of come into her own strengths, where she's like, "Oh no, I got to do this for Griffith. I got to be strong like Casca."
yeah, she has kind of one edge, which is she's a royal diplomat,
Hmm.
which you see with the guards with the whole bribery thing going on.
Hmm.
Um,
I would also like to add in, before we move further, I do like the little scene with Gus and Casca before they go in, where Gus is like, "No, you stay here. I'm going in first," and she's like, "No, you know, like we're all going in together." And you just see them like kind of standing off or being standoffish with each other, and then there's like Pippin and Judo's reaction, just sitting there watching. I'm like, "Huh, those
I,
two are getting along fine. There's
I
something going on there." Where they like because they haven't announced yet that they're together. It's just
mhm.
kind of one of those things like, hmm, those two are awfully friendly with each other now. And suddenly they care. Hmm, what happened last night?
I did want to point out something about that, and that's this is the happiest I've seen Guts. Like I've never seen him so free spirited, if that makes sense.
Yeah, then when he's with his friends, for sure. Especially when he's around like Judo, Pippin, Casca, Ricket. Like you, those are the few times where you see him like legitimately smile.
Yeah, and the way he's kind of goofing off with like Casca now, it's
Hmm.
it's so contrasting to what we're gonna see after and before. So similar to how I mentioned how there was a point in volume 5 where you saw Griffith at his happiest. I feel this is kind of the equivalent for Guts. This feels like Guts at his happiest.
Yeah.
With the caveat that maybe he's missing Griffith, but that remains to be unfolded there.
Hmm. But they don't quite know how bad it is for Griffith at the moment. As far as they know, he's just been locked in a prison cell. They
Yeah,
don't know about
it's
him being
blessed
tortured.
ignorance
So
right now.
yeah, so right now, ignorance and bliss, they're just kind of fucking around like, all right, cool, you know, we're gonna go in, we're gonna save our friend, we're gonna get out of here, and then the Band of the Hawk's gonna get back together again, and we're gonna be great. So they're kind of running off of an idea. They don't know the realities of, well, Griffith, you know, as we'll see, can't really do anything.
Yeah. I just wanted to point one thing out about Guts' happiness. I've never seen him. Can you imagine Guts being this flirty 3 volumes ago?
Oh, absolutely not.
That was the
Hell,
newest thing I
they even
find to his character
tried.
in this scene.
They even tried flirting with him, like when he's at the ball scene where Griffith gets poisoned. There's women there that is trying to flirt with him. He's like, "Yep," and he just walks away.
Yeah, exactly.
And now here he is with Guts or with Casca, and they're actually like they're poking fun at each other. She's hitting him with the lamp. He's like just kind of goofing off, having fun, not really paying attention to the mission at hand
Hmm.
until like it gets more serious. Like when the guards show up and Charlotte's like, "Oh, let me play this off," and then almost faint from a heart attack because you're like, "Holy shit, I've never done that before."
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to point that out, because I you're not gonna see a smile from Guts in a while after this. But yes.
And there is a really cute moment that I like in this part where like they're walking and Casca grabs onto Guts' cape. I'm like, oh, where it's not
You're
necessarily like
so
holding
easily hooked
hands.
by those, man. I feel
I am. I
you,
am a romantic at heart. I love little moments like those.
this has happened at least 7 times, but you keep pointing it out because you love it so much, man.
I do. It's cute.
Your
Like
heart
I
can't
said,
help
I
it.
am a romantic at heart. I love little moments like those.
That's lovely. Um, well, although there's a little bit of tension after that scene because as you find out that Griffith still has 2 stands. Charlotte is very clear about how much she still loves Griffith, but Casca is kind of in
It's still
denial right
loyal
now,
to him. Yeah.
and that kind of makes Guts a little bit more like, oh well. fuck this, like whatever.
Yeah, where he's
He,
like, that's when he starts going more, uh, I guess serious. They're like, all right, now we got to lock in, stop goofing around. Like she still has feelings for him. I can't keep joking around, whatever. And you do see the like in both their eyes, they realize they hurt one another. Or like
yeah,
Casca is like, oh shit, me showing that much concern for Griffith does kind of bother Guts, and Guts snapping at her. You see in his face when he's walking over, like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that.
yeah. Even then, Guts didn't snap. He kind of confronted it the way he always did, which is just like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I don't even want to talk to you right now.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna focus in and go forward.
Yeah,
So, there
which
is
is
that part.
you'd still see it in like his little thought bubble afterwards. Like, man, I feel kind of bad for saying that to her.
Yeah,
Oops.
I think he
Which I
probably
mean,
could have
we
handled it
we already
better.
know. Like, we've already established that Guts is not very good at talking. He's a
Hmm.
man of action. He's good at showing his emotions. He's not very good at saying his emotions or putting his emotions into words.
Yeah, letting them unfold.
Hmm.
I have one tiny note here, not really a discussion, but I just want to say I like Anna, the kind of stewardess that Charlotte has. I think
Oh
she's
yeah,
very
and it's
charming.
pretty cool because she is like the voice of reason in this
She really
plot,
is, isn't she?
where she's like, "Guys, should we really be doing this? We're all gonna die if we get caught." And then Charlotte's
Yeah,
like, "No, I want to go in," and she's like, "Fucking no."
she's kind of goofy too, as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like her. That's all. She was nice for the little time that we had her.
Yep.
Um,
And then like Charlotte starts screaming, and everyone like tackles her and like cover her mouth because she's yelling.
yeah, I
They're
think I
like,
think it was
"You're
because
going to get us killed, bitch! Stop."
she wanted to like announce her love for Griffith or whatever,
Hmm.
something along those lines.
By screaming really loud and letting everyone know.
That's the princess for you. I want to have another point here, and this is the first time we saw Jado fight, which I kind of find funny.
You do see him fight in the earlier volumes. It's just it was always on the battlefield, and he's usually like dual wielding scimitars. This is the first time
Oh,
where you're seeing him with like throwing knives, which, if you notice, are the same throwing knives that Guts will later use as the Black Swordsman.
oh okay.
So
I didn't quite pick
this
up on
is
that.
oh yeah, this is why I always like when you read the Golden Age arc and then look back at the Black Swordsman arc, you start picking up on the little things like Guts is using is from members of the Band of the Hawk, like the throwing knives are from Judo, the crossbow is from Ricket, the well, actually, really the crossbow and the mechanical armor for Ricket.
Makes sense.
But you start seeing little things that he does that he picked up on from the other characters, including using like his weapon as a shield because Pippin was the first one to start doing that.
Oh, there we go.
And so he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll start using that," which to me is just a really nice little like icing on the cake, if that makes sense. Where he's just like, it's showing that he's observant. He's watching how the other members fight, and it's rubbing off on him, and he's using it in his own arsenal, in his
Yeah,
own
it wasn't
skill
just
set.
Griffith.
Yeah, it wasn't just Griffith; it's a little of everyone.
Hmm. And I wanted to highlight. I mean, this is the first time Jado kind of I felt had the panel to himself, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And
Where he definitely feels like this is his element, where he's a
yeah,
thief, which he is. That's how he started, was a thief. And he's running the show. He's sticking through the shadows. He's using knives. He's staying out of the light. He's like, all right, let's go this way, this way, this way. Like he's really guiding the team on his own, which is a really nice uh, change of pace for Judo because for the most part, Judo is always just kind of like, oh, I'm the cheerful, go lucky guy who's part of the group, and I just kind of hang out.
yeah. And I have a side note here. Because of that panel of him throwing knives, I got a really good look at his outfit, and it made me realize like this looks exactly like the Skyrim Thief Guild's armor.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
And I don't know if Jado has ever been beforehand was explicit that he came from a thieving guild or not a guild, sorry. He was a thief prior, but
Mm.
this skill set definitely I guess pinpointed that even deeper now. It's
Yeah.
solidified that
It
his past.
it's more solidified later after they rescue Griffith and they're discussing what they're going to do. And Judo in
Yes.
passing says like, "Well, I could always turn the Band of the Hawk into a new Thieves Guild."
Yeah, that's where you actually get the complete picture of what
Yeah,
Jado is
that's where you
about.
are like, "Oh, so that's where he's come from. That's why he has all these little tricks up his sleeve and knows what to do."
Yeah. So after these scenes, it transitions into, well, what is Rickett up to? Because he got left behind with another one of the camp. And the
Which,
only thing
for
I can
those of
describe
you
here,
who
I like
don't
this,
know,
it turns into a
and
fucking horror scene.
yeah, and I was gonna say to preface this, because we just kind of glanced over it. Actually, I don't even think we mentioned it. At this point in time, the Band of the Hawk is now split into two. Half the Band of the Hawk is going to be focused on rescuing Griffith, which are all the strong, able-bodied guys. The other half, which is all the injured and the weak and the sick, are now making their way across the border to go wait for him. These are the guys who can't fight anymore.
Yeah.
They're all beat up, they're hurt, they're injured because, again, the last year they've been getting hunted, so a lot of the members are getting their ass kicked. Rickett is one of these members. He is part of the members of the guys who are hurt. He's got a broken arm at this moment, so he's just kind of running water, helping the doctor patch everyone up.
Yeah.
And yep, like has said, it turns into a horrific scene
Yeah.
because you have Rickett go down to the water and he sees what he thinks is an elf or a fairy, and then notice that all the fires at his camp are now out. I was like, huh, that's weird. So he goes and investigates, and you get just this horrific scene of the slug count from what, volume 3? I think it was
Yeah.
when he
Volume
first
two.
appeared, volume 2, just devouring one of the Band of the Hawk. And the guy being like, run, Rickett, run.
Yeah. Until once again, you get the same scene like before. Skull Knight appears, says one or two lines, and then goes by.
Yep. Gold Knight shows up, tells them to fuck off, and then they fuck off.
And it's funny because the scene right after, they're like, huh, so there used to be this emperor guy with a skull helmet.
Yep.
Come
It's
on, Muriel.
very important. That is a very important scene where they're talking about the history of Midland and how
Mm-hmm.
it was a once great mighty empire, and this tower was built on top of what was remains of that empire. And there was this one really cool king dude who wore a skull helmet.
Yeah, like some massive conqueror that ended up being an emperor.
Yep, the Supreme King Geisric, which they never outright say that Skull Knight is Geisric, but it is heavily, heavily, heavily implied throughout the series. Like, yeah, that's Geisric.
Yeah, the fact that this lore drop comes right after seeing Skull Knight, I think it's pretty on the nose.
Yeah, and the fact that his helmet looks like Skull Knight's helmet, and you're like, yeah, that's him. If you can't put two and two together, like, come on.
Bro.
Although it'd be really funny if there was a plot twist, like, no, that's not Geisric, that's just some random dude who thought the armor was cool. That would
that'd
be
be such a
really
rug pull,
funny. That would be.
man. But yes, they eventually twirl down. They have a few banters here and there. Um, and I kind of want to get to they find Griffith in the chamber.
But first, I do want to mention something in that story, which is very important because this is going to lead into the eclipse. Um, they mention that when the kingdom was destroyed, 4 angels showed up and destroyed the nation. You
Mhm.
remember that number for when the eclipse shows or happens.
Yeah. Four has kind of. I think you already saw what happened before and the implication of already reading volume 3.
Yeah,
I
where,
think the parallel
oh,
is kind of obvious.
exactly. Like, oh, it's the other 4 God Hand members that just kind of showed up, or like, this is ours now, and just fucking killed everyone.
Yeah, they kind of make it
And
obvious.
you even see it in the little torch scene where Casca drops her torch and it goes all the way down into the pit where it reveals the old city that the entire Midland is built on top of with all the bodies, and all the bodies have the brand of sacrifice on them.
Yep. That's one that I noticed on like the reskim.
Hmm.
But anything else you want to mention once before the Griffith thing?
Uh, Dark Souls. That's pretty much it. This is where
Dark
like I
Souls
wish we
bottom
played
text.
Dark
All
Souls
right, got it.
because this is like the Anne Orlando area was heavily inspired by this point where it's like, oh, it's an underground city, and in order to get to the boss, you got to go down a trail of stairs or the circle of stairs all the way down to the last piece, and that's where they're at. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, that's a straight up Dark Souls right there.
The meme continues.
Yep.
All right. So they open up to no surprise to the audience, but definitely a surprise for the characters. Griffith looks like a fucking fetus.
Oh yeah, he is a mess, like just a mess.
Yeah,
He
and the
is a
most impactful scene was Guts holding Griffith and he starts crying on his helmet.
yeah. The other big one too is when Guts and Judo opens the helmet. And then they're immediately like to everyone else, stay the fuck back. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ, they fucked him up, put his helmet back on, hide his face. Which just is a great way of showing like the whole like what
The imagination of the viewer
yeah,
is
the
the bigger
imagination.
horror.
Like what they do with yeah, where your imagination with horror is far worse than anything that the artist could put on screen
Mhm.
because it just lets you think of like what is the shape Griffith's face is in right now where they're like, oh shit, we got to leave the helmet on him, he is fucked up right now.
Yeah. That was a really good trick. Um but I felt that crying scene was kind of impactful because I wonder if it reeled Griffith back for a second.
Maybe, but you still see the hatred in Griffith because you see his hand go up and he's not going for a hug, he's trying to grab Guts' throat, like he's trying to strangle him, and then Guts just pulls him closer, thinking he's going for a hug. And Griffith is so weak that there's nothing he can do about it.
Yeah, it's once again very, very complicated what's going through his head. Because he
Hmm.
was already kind of loony before all the torture. I can only imagine now it's only gone worse.
Oh yeah, where now he is at his absolute breaking point,
Yeah.
and you even see Charlotte kind of freaking out, like I want to see him, and everyone's just like, no, you can't see him right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a fun little moment with the jailer where he closes the fucking door on him. And it's just kind of like, ha ha ha, you guys are going to be my playthings, just like he is my plaything. And Guts is like, oh, so you did this. And just breaks open the fucking door.
I have a bulletin point here called Stand back, Casca. I'm gonna go berserk trademark. Because this is basically what happens for like God, like for like 20 pages. Guts just going at it.
Oh, yeah. And this is, to me, this is a fun one because he doesn't say anything. He is just like, oh, and then just goes straight into blood rage. He just immediately kicks open the door, or what? Not, he doesn't even kick it open. He slices it open with his sword, impales the jailer. Is just like, oh, you don't deserve two tongues. Cuts his tongue out and then throws him down the pit.
And goes up the stairs and just shreds dudes.
Yep. All the while, the artwork is just showing where like Guts is now in his like blood rage, where it's like his whole face is blacked out. You just see his eyes, and he's just like, "Yep, time to kill." And
Yep.
you see, even with the guards, are just hopeless. Like they're starting to freak out. We're like, oh fuck, we can't stop this guy. Oh god, oh god, oh no, oh god, please no. And he's just chopping through them all.
Yep. All the way until the top, until Casca has to calm him down.
Hmm.
And you get one of the first of many Griffith NTR stares.
Yeah, where Griffith is not very happy with what's going on here.
The stare, this is the very first one, and maybe he's not sure. It's like he's kind of sussing it. I was like, I don't like the vibe of this. But they get a little more intense as it goes on.
It does. Where as of right now, you see him looking at them, and it's not necessarily like hate. Well, no, I guess it is kind of hatred because for the first time he sees Casca more concerned about Guts than him,
Well,
and you
not the
see
first
the
time.
look in his eyes. Oh yeah, that's true. It's not the first time, but this is the time where you see Griffith being like, "Wait a minute, she's supposed to worship me."
This is the very first reconfirmation.
Yeah, where he's like, "Hmm, there's something going on between those two. Why are people worshiping others? Why are they not looking at me?"
Yep. It's this is gonna get more intense later because I have a scene later up that I can't wait to bring up.
Oh yeah.
So the next bulletin point here
But
I have is called the Indian Schmuck Crew because
I was gonna say though before, just because found this panel kind of funny,
mhm,
while Guts is going on his blood rage, running up the stairs, there's this little scene where Judo's just standing outside. He's like, "Wow, it's raining blood," as all the body parts that Guts is leaving is just falling off the stairs, and
good.
he's like, "Shit, all right," and he
Bro went
goes back
berserk.
inside, and that's it. He's like, "Guys, we better get going because Guts is about to kill literally everyone in this kingdom if we don't stop him."
Stands up for his friends like a real man.
Mhm. And you even see it where, like, on the outside, where there's the one captain who's like, "Oh, what are you guys freaking out about? Like, we sent like 50 dudes in there. They're fine. That it's just a legend." And then immediately, like, five guys' bodies go flying through the door. Guts jumps out and just starts massacring everyone. And the captain's like, "Oh fuck."
He didn't even have time to say, "Oh fuck," he got massacred like
That's
two
true.
words in.
He was just like, "Oh no, I'm just gonna go right up. Oh shit, now my brain's over there."
He's just gone. Bye.
Yep. And then the rest of the crew comes running out like 5 minutes later, all winded, be like, "God damn, Guts is still going."
But yeah, they got the after this, they got the Indian Schmuck Crew. I thought they were gonna be a bigger deal. I'm gonna spoil a little bit of what's gonna go ahead, and it's these guys were not a big deal. These guys
Not
definitely
for our
got
crew.
jobs super fucking hard. I thought they were gonna be like, whoa, these are gonna be the arc villains. Nah.
They themselves are not a big deal. Their faction becomes a big deal because they are from the same kingdom that Slot is from.
Okay. I'll put
So
that bulletin point for later then.
yeah, remember that bulletin point because that faction does become more important. That's just like way down the line. That's like past Golden Age arc, past the eclipse and all that.
Hmm. The only thing I want to point out in this quote unquote battle to me that's worth discussing is this is the first time, excuse me, this is the first time we saw Pippin do more than just be the strong, silent guy
Yeah.
because he immediately smelled the air. I'm assuming it's some kind of gasoline, and he started
Yeah, he
taking
smelt the
command.
gas. Yeah, he smelt the gas and he's like, "Everyone run." And you even get a little bit of his backstory where he's like, "Yeah, I used to be a miner.
Yeah,
I worked in a coal mines or whatever."
like the fact that like oh fuck, there's a dead end. What am I gonna do? Pippin just immediately smashed the roof, and the fact that
Yeah.
he knew that's exactly
Mm.
how the gasoline plus
That
fire interacted
yeah,
makes me think that
where
he's also
fire
smart.
travels air. So as long as there's airflow, fire will always travel the airflow.
Yeah, that's a pretty complicated thing to know for medieval times.
Hmm. And again, this is one of those things where later on in the series, you see Guts do the same thing, where he starts picking up on the same things that Pippin, or by observing Pippin, or he's like, "Oh, okay, I could manipulate my environment this way to get the apostles to do what I want them to do."
Yeah.
And I do want to backtrack a little bit, which is right before they entered the sewers and running through that. You do get a moment with Guts where he's like exhausted, right? Where he's just got done slaying like 50,000 people or however many men there is. And you have Costco walk up and rub his cheek and like wipe the blood off of him. Which one is a really, really sweet moment. I know we've already talked about it. I love little sweet moments like this between the two. But you also see the fucking fury in Griffith's eyes watching the two do this. Like this
Yep.
small little intimate scene.
It builds up, like we
And like
said.
Yep, it builds up. You just see the fury in his eyes. Be like, why are they doing that? That they shouldn't be doing that. They should be doing that to me or worshiping me. What's
Hmm.
going on here?
It confirmed that it wasn't a one-off. This is the
Hmm.
thing.
Where Griffith is paying attention and he sees that things all have changed,
Yeah,
and he doesn't have nearly as much control as he thought he did.
exactly. And there's definitely more of a highlight for that later that I have plenty to discuss about Griffith in that scene.
Hmm.
But uh I guess the only thing worth pointing out is that Charlotte also just kind of is like, okay, this is too dangerous. We'll save you for later.
Hmm. I
Uh,
do like the point with Charlotte too, is that when she's running, she tears her dress.
yeah,
Where she's like, I need to be strong like them. I can't be walking around in a dress. I need to be able to run faster. And
yeah,
so you're starting to see her grow as a character as well, where she's starting to become brave.
yeah. I think it's good because I've always kind of thought I kind of liked Charlotte. I just kind of never really thought much of her.
Yeah. And now you're starting to see she was always like a follower. She always just kind of followed and everyone else kind of led the way for her. Now she's taking an initiative, being like, no, I need to start acting. And she does. She saves Griffith, where she jumps in front of the blow dart and gets hit by the poison.
Yeah, she could have easily been frozen as a character from his her scene with the father or the
Hmm.
king. But no, she kept going, and I think that's something that shouldn't be undermined. Now she's kind of fighting back, and it could be that maybe some of Guts, but Griffith could have also inspired her to move forward.
Hmm. I think it seems like it's mostly Griffith for her because she's doing everything. Like, oh, I want to show my love for Griffith. I'm doing everything for Griffith.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe being around like Casca and Guts, maybe the energy rubbed off on them. I don't know. It,
Oh, for
it's it's
sure.
kind of wishful thinking, but
Hmm.
shrug.
And I do like that you get a moment where with Judo in this point where he's like, everyone put out the lights,
Hmm.
and he's like using the sparks to see where everyone is at to pinpoint them, and then he launches the attack all at once.
Yeah, these chapters were so good for Pippin and Jado.
Oh yeah. Or I should say Judo, not Pippin. Judo was the one that was using the sparks to see.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just watching Pippin do it. It was like, oh, that's right, I can do that.
These were their moments to shine, and I thought it was great that they had a chapter to themselves a little bit.
Oh
With
yeah.
Guts here and there, and Griffith as well, of
Mhm.
course. But yeah, Charlie is pretty much relatively out of the picture. You get a few allusions, a few cutaways to her, but she's mostly out.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh,
And then you have the fire going on. Pippin being like just the Giga Chad he is, being like, no, knock open the hole in the roof.
yeah,
Everyone duck. The backdraft goes up top.
yeah,
We're
it's
all
very highlighted.
safe.
Great scene. The next thing I have my bulletin point here is the king crashes out and sends the black dogs. More specifically, it's a guy called, I think his name is Wyld. I
Wild.
think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, it's just spelled weird. Um,
And you
okay,
already know how he is from his introductory scene, where you're like, ah, this dude is a fucking monster.
there's a lot to unpack with Wyld. I feel before he starts coming a bit into play. So the first thing I thought about is this scene with Wyld, his introductory scene of essentially having a harem orgy with a bunch of women, looks
Mhm.
really similar to the volume 3 or 2 one where the Count found his
His
wife.
wife in an
Yeah, and
orgy.
I'm just like, Mira, what are you doing?
I will say, put a pin on that because that goat demon isn't will later be revealed to be an apostle. So do put a pin on that. Like, oh, that is a thing. Guts has a run in with those guys eventually.
Yeah, so I'm keeping that in mind when I saw that scene.
Hmm.
Once again, Mira doing the thing he's good at and making every sex scene somehow relevant.
Yep. It
Except
also
maybe for one
shows
that I'll
that
bring
like
up later, but that's I'll tell you that one soon.
mhm. I was gonna say that this is also one where him just not giving a fuck about the girls, like dropping the girl on her head,
He
And
was
just be
pretty
like,
close
oh,
to
cool, I
choking her
gotta go
too.
kill people. Yeah, he almost killed her by doing that. If not, he did kill her. I don't think it's ever actually shown whether or not that happened. But
She
like,
looked okay, but I don't
she
think he would have
seemed
cared either
okay.
way.
Yeah, I don't think he would have cared either way. Like, this is not a dude who cares. And I know that this arc with Wyald is a very controversial one because there's a lot of fans who don't really like it and don't think it's necessarily needed.
I I'm gonna get into it more, and I'm gonna put my points, but I am somewhat on their side. Although I understand there's a little bit of necessity in here to highlight a few things.
Mhm. Like, to me personally, I'm fine with the arc. I think it's it builds up more so for Guts' character than it does for the others because now you're starting to see like, oh shit, oh, spoilers, Wild's a apostle, and now
Mhm.
suddenly Guts is able to take on an apostle. He's getting his ass thrashed, but
Yeah,
he's able to take him on.
I will say though, it definitely feels like a filler arc besides the conclusion.
Yeah. Where the whole chasing, you get a little bit of like Wild's backstory of being in a prison and throwing a dude up on top of a tower, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
But you also get a heartbreaking moment where the Band of the Hawk stop by a small little village town, and the
before you move on to the
villagers
story,
still view them as heroes.
yeah, before you move on to the story, I actually wanted to highlight that moment in particular. That scene was great. And something that caught me off guard was when the girl gave the flowers to the Band of the Hawk, maybe more specifically Griffith. Griffith was
Mhm.
legitimately smiling at her.
He was like, there's a scene where he's actually smiling.
And I don't know if Mura was trying to say anything, or maybe it's like Griffith's kind of diplomatic instincts kicking in.
Hmm.
But I was kind of guessing like there is still humanity in Griffith. Even after all that torture and everything, there's still something inside there that is
There
can
is. There's
can have
still a little
happiness.
bit of humanity left in him. He
Yeah.
hasn't completely forsaken it yet.
Mm-hmm. And the next bulletin point here that I have, and it's the very vile, wild scene.
Oh yeah, where he and his boys rape the village and kill everybody.
It was pretty gross,
It's
especially if you're someone that likes to pay attention to the details that Mira adds, and
mhm.
you start to see the double edged sword of that.
Yep. Where they're now using their bodies as weapons and tools.
Dude, I think what disturbed me is when I realized where those swords were pierced, and I'm like, ah,
Yep.
dude, come on. It definitely made me highlight though, like, when I don't like disturbing scenes, but when they do come up, my mind kind of shuts off, and the only thing I can focus on is this guy needs to go.
Yes.
He's
These
just
guys
gotta
are
go.
evil. And they even make mention of it where the Black Dogs are the complete opposite of the Band of the Hawk. The Band of the Hawk are noble, they're proud, they're brave, they're honorable. They're there to be heroes and to help people. While the Black Dogs do not give a fuck. Anyone and everyone is a target. They go after everybody on a battlefield. It doesn't matter to them.
Yeah. So yeah, they take their time to establish that two things about Wyatt or Wyald. He's an awful person, quotations person, and two, he's powerful.
Yep. He's extremely powerful and he is hedonistic as they come. He only cares about his own pleasure, and that's pretty much it.
Yep, pretty much destroys a dude's head with his two fingers
Yeah.
to highlight how
And you
powerful he
also,
is.
at this point, you also get a moment with him where they, like, Guts kind of realizes, like, these men are charging us not because they want to kill us, but because they're more afraid of Wyald. They're
Mm-hmm.
far more afraid of their leader than they are of us, which is why they keep coming.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, Guts and Pippin are just mowing down their forces. These
Mm-hmm.
guys are nothing for them.
It's just one elephant in the room, or one
Yep.
ape in the room, as they describe them.
Yeah, just a fucking ape. And he flings his fucking spear, which Guts recognizes as the girl that helped them.
Yeah. It's again a pretty vile scene to kind of
Hmm.
hate this guy.
And you see a moment with Guts though, where he kind of locks in. And he's like, "Oh, you guys killed these innocents. I'm gonna go straight after Wyald." And then he starts going into his berserker mode, and Wyald catches his sword.
Yep.
And Guts is like, "Oh, no one's ever done that before." Uh-oh.
Immediately thinks to Zod.
Yep. Immediately is like, "Oh, this dude's like Zod.
He's not
Oh, this is
human.
not good. Yeah, this is not a human. We're not dealing with a normal person here."
Yeah. And once they destroy the bridge, I want to talk a little bit, not even talk, I just want to put a pin on what Wyatt said. And Wyatt says that you have no reason to care about living or dying. It's all about living in the moment, and caring
Hmm.
about death is kind of,
It's
it's
pointless.
pointless. Yeah.
Which, for someone like him, who's an apostle and could heal his wounds, sure, who cares? Everyone else is human. They don't have his healing abilities.
And
But you
and I want
kind
to
of
put a pin on
see,
this.
like with that pin, later on, we'll see that that's not really his core beliefs.
Yes. So we'll get into that later because I do have that bulletin point later.
Hmm.
So of course the conflict continues and they kept getting chased on. And you get the very first non scummy kind of highlight of Corcus being heroic.
Yeah,
Finally.
he's trying.
He gets
Corcus
his
is
moment to
trying to be a
shine.
hero. He gets his moment. He's there. He's got the Band of the Hawk. He's like, charge! Ah, fuck! I messed up the speech. Go! And like everyone's already taken off without him saying his charge.
He may be he you kind of see that. I mean, it was kind of already implied, but beneath all the sarcastic and kind of tsundere qualities, he's a little bit of a coward.
Corcus, a little bit,
Yeah, he kind of gets scared pretty easily, but I would say
but he
he gets
still
scared
tries.
easily, but he's not a coward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he gets scared, but he's still willing to fight despite his cowardness,
Yeah.
which is ultimately bravery. Where it's like,
Yes.
oh, you're not brave because you fear no fear. You're brave because you feel fear, but you still choose to fight anyway.
Hmm. Uh, and something else to point out during all this is that Griffith can only watch. And I only want to
Hmm.
add this part because it's going to put another bulletin point for later on.
Yeah, because there's nothing he can do. He's literally sitting here watching Guts go head to head against an apostle and watching the rest of the band of Hawk go head to head against the Black Dogs, who, mind you, again, has the same battle prowess as the band of the Hawk. So these are two evenly sided matches going head to head,
Yeah,
and he can't join in. He can't help his men. He can't give encouragement. He can't fight. He could just sit there and watch and do nothing.
exactly.
And this is also the first time where you see Guts act being like the battlefield commander. Like, yes, he's led people and he was always a captain, but now here he is, front and center. His boys are following him. Like everyone on the battlefield is listening to his commands.
That's exactly it. And you see it, it's such an interesting contrast with Zod because when something like this happened before, Guts and Griffith were teaming up and the Band of the Hawk were relying on both of them. Now it's just Griffith staring at Guts do everything.
Hmm.
So that's the only pin I wanted to put on it because there's more to say later. Uh, the next highlight is Wyald becomes a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I
Wild
wasn't
becomes
expecting
Bigfoot.
that transformation. I thought it was gonna be something
Well,
way scarier, but he just kind of looks goofy.
I think that's kind of the point of Wild, is that he is kind of a more goofy looking apostle. Like you would think he's like, oh, he's gonna be like a werewolf or something cool and badass. He's like, nah, he's just Bigfoot. He has a weird looking cyclops thing.
Yeah, he's pretty gross looking.
Yeah.
And speaking of
But
gross,
it does kind of fit him because he's very much like big dumb ape dude.
yeah, it wasn't too bad. I got what they were going at.
Hmm.
So the one thing I let me just read how I wrote this bulletin point, which is Casca dot Mira. Come on,
Yeah.
dude, really?
I mean, it's fitting for Wyald to do it because, you know, Wyald has literally just raped every woman he's met so far. But it does kind of take away from the whole eclipse part of like, wow, this is the third or fourth time Casca's almost been raped.
And it's just the way they were going at it too. It's just like, come on, Mira, really? You're taking this really slow and all the shots, and I'm just like, Mira, please. The
It's only
way
for like
it is,
two
I guess
pages.
I guess it's supposed to be horrific, but I don't know. It
It's
feels a
also meant
little
to be kind of
tasteful.
like a almost like a defeat scene because at this point, uh, as an apostle now in his apostle form, he's fucking everyone up. Like as far as they could tell, Guts might be dead because Guts just got fucking flung into a tree,
Yeah.
and well, actually, I think it was multiple trees he just got flung into. While just wiped out like 20 guys with a single tree.
Hmm.
A tree, not even a tree branch, a fucking tree. And now he's grabbed Casca, and everyone's like, "Ah, fuck, this is it. We're gonna lose." And then you see Guts chop off his tongue.
So I don't know how it is in the other versions, but
They okay, so that's the thing. This arc has never been animated.
really, that's
Yep.
interesting.
They've never, and either the movies or the TV show, they've never animated this arc.
Interesting. I could understand why, honestly.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very controversial arc, and it's one of those arcs where a lot of people are like, do you need it? You
Hmm.
know, which to me is like, I
It
would say
doesn't have
yes,
much, but
you
there are a
need it.
few things you need to highlight here.
Yeah, there are a few important plot points here, e- especially for like Guts as a character, because this is the first time you see him actually be able to hold his own against an apostle and
That's
kind
the
of
most
figure
important
out
one.
how apostles work.
Hmm.
Because it was from this battle where he learns, like, oh, the human head on the apostle is the weak point. Because
Yeah.
up until that point, everywhere he hits Wyald just heals. Wyald doesn't give a fuck. He's like, oh, whatever. You cut my hand, I'll heal it. You cut my leg, I'll heal it. Whatever, I don't care. It wasn't until he got the sword strike on his face then he noticed, like, oh, he doesn't heal there. Okay, that's the weak point. That's where I need to hit him.
Yeah. The thing I wanted to quickly say is when Guts wakes up, he cuts off the weird tentacle thing that Casca was about to get hit with, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know how it is in the other editions, but in the deluxe edition, at the very least, it censors the word "that's my blank,"
Yeah, it censors this too.
and I'm just like, okay, we saw mutilation, we've seen brutal sex scenes, but I draw the line on saying the word "dick." Really?
That that's more of a publisher thing. I don't know why they censor like there's even times when they like cuss and they'll censor cuss words and like not necessarily Berserk, but in other mangas
Mm-hmm.
where it's like just really weird. Like I know there's if I remember right, there's a moment in like Hellsing, for example, where one of the characters curse and they censor the curse word. And you're like, wait a minute, we just watched a bunch of vampire Nazis fucking devour children.
But this is where I draw the line. We can't
But
have
like they're
this in
not
our
allowed to
wholesome
say
show.
fuck. Yeah, they're not allowed to like curse. That's weird.
I
Uh,
mean, I could kind of give it to maybe this is supposed to be a comedic moment, but I don't know. Um, I mean, the next point you kind of already covered. It's Guts almost dies. Almost.
yeah. Guts does not give up. He keeps getting up despite Casca telling him like run away, run away. It's fine. You can run away. And he's just like, nah. Even to
Yeah.
the point where Judo is like, Casca, just leave him. Like he's not running.
So the fight keeps ramping up, and you start to see Guts gain more and more momentum. And this is the
Hmm.
pin I want to unpack for a second, and that's that once he starts feeling that the once Wyald starts feeling that the cards are against him, he no longer has the you live or die in the moment. He is now
It's
becoming
I want to
cowardly.
live. Yeah, he becomes a coward. Which go back to the Black Swordsman arc. Remember the Slug King or Count, whatever the fuck he was?
Mm-hmm.
Or he's like, wait a minute, I don't want to die. God hand, come help me. Like a lot of
Yep.
the apostles at the end of the day are fucking cowards.
Yep. They talk about all this stuff about power and their own philosophies and everything, but
But at the end of
they
the day, they're cowards.
they're just using that philosophy to kind of justify themselves and doing
Mhm.
atrocities.
These are the type of people where like they will sell you out in order to gain power and then boast about how strong they are. It's like,
That's
no, you don't have
exactly
real
it.
power. You sold people out in order to get your power. You're not a real strong person.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's I mean, it's great that well, he almost died, right? But
Mhm. I will say though, when you kind of see Guts piecing together his plan, where he's like, okay, I'm going to use one of Wyald's bone guys as a decoy, and then I'm going to use a log as another decoy, and then I'm going to jump on top of him and go for his head. I just love that little bit because that's the same tactic that he uses against the slug count,
he's more
where
than a meathead now.
yeah, he's using strategies. He's coming up with plans. He's not just going in, head first. He's like, okay, I need to set up traps and try and figure this out.
Yeah. So the it's interesting, right? Because you point out how Wyald was kind of, you know, an apostle that it's just another apostle that had this kind of philosophy. Uh, Relevant you say that because Zod comes in again after fucking Wyald wakes up and just backbreaks
Zod,
the.
Zod is a super interesting apostle because he is the only apostle that, as far as I can tell, does not follow that philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he himself is not a coward. Like he will fight to the death if given the opportunity. He does not care.
Yeah,
He just wants a good fight.
and it's funny. The way I wrote this note is Zod has endangered Guts twice, but saved them. No, he endangered Guts once, but it saved them twice. As far as
Yep,
I'm
has saved him
concerned, he's more
twice.
of a good figure than a bad one.
He is. Like Zod is very much so as kind of a weird, not necessarily like Vegeta or Piccolo type character, but he is a I don't like you, you're my rival, but only my rival. Like only I'm allowed to kill you, Guts. No one else is allowed to kill you.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, it's more of that thing where he probably loathes the people around him.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm sure he doesn't
Um
like that the apostles. I'm sure he's seen it, right? He's
oh,
a
he
some kind of
hates
demon
the
for
other
living
apostles.
forever.
He fucking despises them.
Yeah, that they're all basically cowards.
Hmm.
But here he sees. I mean, he hates cowards in general, but with humans, he kind of understands like, well, they're weak. They can only, of
Yeah.
course, they're cowardly. But when he sees Guts, I think there's something like he's so fixated and interested in seeing what Guts can become that he's kind of willing to bend a few rules just to kind of see how it plays out.
Yeah. Where he's for the first time, he sees a human who is relying on his own human strength to take on like ungodly things and is winning.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, like, huh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. This does not happen very often. And so he's getting excited. He's interested in Guts, where he's like, shit, I want to see what this kid could become.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of parallels I guess you can say an evil version of Guts, quote unquote.
It's funny you say that because Akuma in Street Fighter, who is the evil version of Ryu, is heavily inspired by Zod.
You know what? When you draw that parallel, I can definitely see it now.
Yep.
uh, and the only other bulletin point here that I have here is once again highlighting Griffith felt worthless the entire time because he was getting
Oh
held
yeah.
by Wyald.
Well,
And
before that, I was gonna say,
yes,
right when Guts kills Wild, or not kills Wild, but downs Wild down or puts Wild down the first time, you do see Griffith smile, where he's like, "Oh my god, he did it!"
that's right. Yeah.
Which I mean, the entire Band of the Hawk it was all just kind of sitting on the sideline watching this fight go down, and everyone's cheering. They're like, "Holy shit, it fucking happened! He did it!"
Yeah. I mean, they can't do shit.
But yeah, and I do like the moment where like Costco goes running after Guts because they think Guts might be dead. He just got flung headfirst into a fucking tree again. And you just see Guts like smile and like, it gives the thumbs up. He's like, I'm alive, and then passes out.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I love that little reaction of Guts, like, the little thumbs up as blood
It
just pouring everywhere.
was pretty amusing.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, he basically Griffith basically got called useless by Wyald. Uh,
Yeah.
so damn.
So
He's not gonna remember that, right?
nope. But you do have a moment before this where, they're all getting their wounds licked. They're getting patched up. Costco's sewing Guts up, and Guts is just not having it because he's like, God damn it, I hate stitches. Just let the wounds heal on their own. But
Yep.
the important thing is, her and Judo leave, and she asks, how bad is it? And Judo's like, he will never hold a sword or walk again.
Yep.
And now the look on her face is just like, fuck, what did we do? Because now
Mm-hmm.
their whole plan was, oh, we're going to get Griffith back. He's going to be healed, and the Band of the Hawk is going to be back together again, and we're going to be great, and we're going to be working on our way to becoming knights again. And now the realization of that's not happening is settling in. Like the
Yeah.
reality of their situation is happening. Now they're like, fuck, what do we do?
So let's get into the
All right.
chapter where it wraps up all the pins we were talking about earlier. And you already started getting a little bit into it. The bulletin point that I have is we save Griffith. Now what?
And before that, there is one more point that I want to talk about where like Guts basically is comforting Griffith, where like, hey, look, put your armor back on. See, you're just like one of us again, buddy. Don't worry.
Yeah, doing all he
And
can.
you do see kind of Griffith smile a little bit, but then at the end when he's putting the armor on, where like Griffith can't even put his own armor on by himself anymore, and you see him sad, you're like, oh, like Griffith is absolutely feeling the weight of this now,
He's
where
going
he's like,
through
I
it.
am useless. Yeah, he's going through it. He cannot do what he's used to doing.
And this sentiment echoes across the Hawk.
Yep.
You
Where
see
everyone's just
everyone's
kind
like,
of,
well, we don't have Griffith anymore, so what's
so
going to
what's
become the
the
Hawk?
point? What are we gonna do?
And it's, you mentioned the stuff with Jado already. Um, and Cork is basically crashing out, nothing new for him. But
Yeah.
what is very interesting is that uh, Casca is so, what do you call it? Like, she's so
So
emotionally charged
dedicated
by
to.
this that she's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go with Griffith.
Mhm. I think you're skipping ahead a little bit because there's a little bit of other things I want to talk about with Wyald
Mm-hmm.
real quick. That is like Wyald as a whole. Like, look, your leader's fucking useless. Summon God Hand, save me because I'm a coward.
Yeah.
And Zod is just like, fuck you, buddy, and rips him in half.
Yep.
Um, there's another moment with Zod here where he gives Guts a warning again, where he's like, hey, that king is going to sacrifice all of you. You guys should probably leave.
Yep.
Which is, again, really fucking weird for an apostle. Most apostles do not give a fuck. Well, Zod is like, hey, your beloved leader that you guys all really, really like, he's going to kill all of you. You guys should probably leave.
Yep. Kind of giving a chance to anyone who is willing to go.
Mm-hmm. Where he's giving them a warning, which again just goes to show like Zod is not like the other apostles.
Yep.
He's not like the other girls, where like
Anything else you want to
he
cover in
does
this
have
book?
some he does have some level of honor to him. And then Wyald turns back into his human form, and they realize that he's just a weak old man,
Yep.
and
Ironic.
that's it. And it is ironic because it's one of those things where you go through, and you realize like all the apostles are just weak people who sold out someone in order to gain power.
Yep.
None of them are strong humans. They couldn't bear the weight of the world, so they had to sell out their friends to the devil, so that way they could have some strength.
Yeah, it's really dickish of them.
Yeah. Yeah, apostles are not good people. But it does make you wonder, like, what happened to Zod to make him change that? Because
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he sold someone out in order to become an apostle, but now his philosophy has changed. It's almost like he felt a little like I don't know if he feels remorse for selling someone out in order to become an apostle or what. It's just, or maybe, well, I don't know. Because I think of all the apostles, Zod does kind of have a little bit of remorse for what he's done.
He's the most
At least
human of them all.
remorse he is. And he, in a very least, feels remorse for selling out to become a demon monster. Because now he's like, man, fighting's boring. Like I used to have so much fun and enjoyment out of a good fight, and now I just trash everything. This kind of sucks. I don't like being an apostle anymore.
Yeah. I wouldn't know yet because I haven't gone those scenes with Zod yet, but maybe there's more in the future.
Eh, you get it with him when in his like first introduction. You get a
That is
moment with him
true.
like
That is
that
true,
where
actually.
he's just like, "Man, this is boring." And then he fights Guts. He's like, "Oh shit. This is kind of fun again."
Maybe, yeah, that is probably what drives him forward.
Mhm.
Anything else you'd like to cover about
But
Zod or Wyald or anything before?
that's about it.
Okay.
No, that's it. I just wanted to cover that before we moved on because then the next thing is like where we were at, where they're on the hillside and they're saying how Griffiths will no longer be able to lead us, and we're gonna try and figure something out. And pretty much everyone knows, like, oh, this is it. We're going to disband.
Yeah.
And you do get the moment with Judo here, where he's like, well, I could always become a leader of a thieves guild.
Yep. So I'm gonna get to the scene I really want to talk about, and you can feel free to rewind or go forward or whatever after this, but I definitely want to talk about it right now. And that's the moment where uh, Casca is tending to Griffith. And
Hmm.
what Griffith does is
Where he,
he kind of hops on Casca.
yeah.
And
I
then,
don't think she realizes what he's trying to do, but it looks like
yep.
he's trying to have his way with her. And I think Casca's mind is like, oh, he's just so frail that he's tried to stand up and fell on me. Oh, it's okay, Griffith. I'm gonna nurture you and give you a hug. I don't think she realized what he was trying to do.
So, what is going on beneath the hood? And that's what I'm really like looking at because you're starting to see the highlight that we've talked about previously before many times with Griffith is that he's trying to kind of regain his control because this
Yeah.
feels like a weaker version of the Charlotte scene with him and
Hmm.
Griffith or with her and Griffith.
For
And
sure. And it also doesn't help that her and Guts had that whole conversation about how weak Griffith has become. And like also the speech with the rest of the Band of the Hawk about we don't know what's going to happen because Griffith is so weak. All this is within earshot of Griffith. So Griffith hears all of this,
yes. And
which is the even worse part where he's sitting there listening in on them, being like, man, I have fallen so far from grace that even my own people are about to abandon me.
in his way, this is also kind of a way to take something back from Guts and
Hmm.
kind of like keep it on his own, but he can't do anything.
Yeah. Because again, it's shown that like he sees the two interacting with one another. He sees Guts and Casca having moments with one another, and he's like, "I don't like this. Like, I want to destroy Guts because he left me, and he doesn't deserve to be happy. If I can't be happy, no one can."
Yeah, something fucked is going on with his head, especially right now. And well, there's no other way around it, right? I know two spoilers about the eclipse.
It's
One happened in this volume. The other one is gonna happen later.
Yeah,
And
it's the Luke Skywalker "I am your father" moment of Berserk. Everyone knows this scene happens. It's
and
a major spoiler, but everybody knows it happens.
and to see that this is already alluding to that scene, it made me oh man, dude. It there was so much to unpack with that scene, and I can't believe an alluding was this. It already had this much baggage already.
Hmm.
It's fucking insane.
For sure. And then like again, he's sitting there listening in on this and he's losing his shit. And you hear that, like, oh, Guts is probably going to leave again, which Guts even contemplates about leaving. For the moment there with his men, he's like, no, I could become the new leader of the Band of the Hawk, which he very much so could. He's strong enough to do it. He's now proven himself to be a smart leader. And then Costco's like, no, you have to go follow your dreams. You got to leave, which to me is like, it's loving but also heartbreaking. You know the old saying where it's like, if you love someone, you let them go. You know, where like
She
that's kind of what
understands Guts well enough at this point.
yeah, she understands like Guts, if you stay here with the Band of the Hawk, you're not going to be happy. You need to go and follow your dream of being the best swordsman or whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you get the moment where Griffith hears all this and it's just like, fuck. Now I'm to the point of not only will I never achieve my dreams, I'm now holding everyone else back from their dreams. I am fucking useless.
Yep,
God damn. And he hijacks his own carriage.
exactly. So before we get to the carriage, unless you want to talk about it right now, I'm willing to talk about it right now. But I just wanted to talk about uh I don't know, I guess we already covered it, right? Guts already was going through the idea of I care about only fighting and not the
The
not
leadership
the
part.
people around me too much.
Mhm.
But I guess we already did cover that, so maybe we can just get into the carriage scene.
I mean, see him. You see him grow from that though, because before very much he was like, "Oh, I only care about fighting, not necessarily the people around me." But now you're at this point, you're seeing the other members looking at him for leadership, and now he's like, "Well, fuck, like I could lead them, I guess. Like I don't really want to be a leader, but if I also don't want to abandon Casca. I don't want to abandon Griffith. Griffith needs help, and." If keeping everyone together is the way to do it, then so be it. I'll do it.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of a battle going on, but
Mhm.
before they can
Definitely
come
an
to any
internal battle with
conclusions, the you're right. The Griffith hijacked the carriage,
him.
and
And
in that
then
sequence, you see a lot of flashbacks. Not well, maybe flashbacks, but a little bit of like
you see a dream that he
metaphorical,
has,
like universe, I suppose.
where if they do what Costco's idea was, which her and Griffith settle down, Guts travels the world to become a swordsman, and everyone else kind of goes off and do their own merry thing. He just becomes like a house husband, I
Just
guess,
a
and just
normal
kind of
guy
yeah, he just becomes a normal
with
dude. And
Casca with there, and
they named their son Guts and the dog Pippin, and which I thought that was kind of funny.
I wonder what's going on in Griffith's head.
And Griffith is fucking resenting that dream because he wakes up and is like, "Fuck no, I don't want that."
So much
To
so
the
that he
point
looks
where
that when he crashes in the lake, he's looking at that very sharp, what would you call it, like impale?
wood,
Yeah,
like a
some kind of stone, something hard. And he just
piece of
pumps
wood.
suicide.
Yeah, he's like, "This is it. I'm gonna end it." My arm's broken. The wing of the bird is, or the wing of the hawk is now broken. I can't do anything. I might as well fucking kill myself. And he tries. He almost does it, and you think he does for a moment, and it's revealed that it's just a cut. Like he couldn't actually do it. He wasn't strong enough to kill himself.
Yep.
And he breaks down in tears because at this point he is truly in despair where he's like, fuck, I'm not strong enough to follow my dreams. I'm not strong enough to follow the Band of the Hawk or to lead the Band of the Hawk. I'm not strong enough to be with my friends. I'm not even strong enough to kill myself. I'm a worthless piece of shit.
He can make no decisions in his life anymore.
Yep, he can make no decisions. He has no control whatsoever. And then he finds his Balet.
And in a string of crazy luck, it's right there in the lake with some of the blood that came off that stone thing
Mm-hmm.
already in the water.
Yep. And he holds it up, and you get the very beginning of the eclipse, where his blood runs down onto the necklace, and it starts screaming bloody murder, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck, what's going on?"
Yep. And that's where we're gonna end our our
Yep,
discussion.
as much of a cliffhanger as that is, because the next part is pretty much all Eclipse arc.
Yep. It's it.
That is a whole discussion in itself.
Exactly. Already so much happened in volume 12, and the fact that there's more, there's gonna be so much to fucking unpack.
Mhm. I
So,
will say before this happens, though, that there's a moment with Griffith that as he's summoned the God Hand, he's doing it, or the eclipse is happening. You see Guts riding up, yelling, being like, "Hey, Griffith, you all right?" And he's just like, stay away from me."
yep.
So, and it's just like, oh, like there is still humanity left in Griffith. He hasn't fully given into despair because there's still enough for him being like, yeah, I may have just done a horrible ritual where everyone's gonna die, but I still want everyone to stay away from me.
This
So
is
that
gonna be
way, at
highlighted
least,
later, but it is trying to.
yeah,
You're right. He has humanity, and he's trying to throw that away. But that's the thing is that he wouldn't need to throw away anything if he didn't have any humanity. He has it
yeah,
right now,
he still has a little bit of humanity left in him.
and that's gonna be highlighted later on, because
Yep,
there's way more to talk about then. So,
yep. There's his. We'll dive into his whole humanity in the Eclipse arc because there's few chapters talking about that part.
yep. All right, now that we're at the goalpost, and we finished the storytelling aspect. Is there anything you want to look back on all these chapters and in reflection to kind of maybe generally cover or talk about? Because I guess the only thing I'll add is like, yeah, I don't think you need the Wyald scene too much. I
I don't
would,
think you need the Wild Casca scene too much. The rest of Wild, I'm all right with.
yeah, honestly,
I would have been fine if Wild just beat the shit out of her, and that
and
was
was about
that.
to
I
kill
don't.
her, like stomp on her or
Yeah,
something.
he was about to kill her, and then Guts like slams his sword into his leg or something. Like I
Yeah,
would have been all right with that. But I like that Wild is there because it does show like Guts is figuring out how to kill these things. Because
yeah,
this is the first apostle we've seen die, at least in the Golden Age arc. I mean,
yeah.
we've seen
We have.
three other apostles before die, but that's Black Swordsman arc before we know what was going on. For Guts and the rest of the crew in the Golden Age arc, they've never seen an apostle die. As far as they know, these things are unkillable, and this is the first time where one does die.
Unfortunately, it wasn't by guts because technically, what do you call
Yeah,
it?
technically,
Zod
Zod killed him.
team fucking steel kills him.
Hmm. Yeah, he stole or killed his kill, stole his kill.
Yeah, he stole his
Uh,
kill.
but I still give it to Guts because Guts got him
Yeah,
pretty damn close to death. All Guts really had to do is jump back up there and stab him in the head again, and that would have been it.
yeah, he kind of cheated, so whatever.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was one of the weaker arcs looking back. I can see
Yeah.
why it's kind of controversial. Not to say it was terrible. I mean, the bar is at Berserk.
Hmm. It's it is one of those arcs where like there's a reason why it's not usually animated because one, yeah, it's very gory, it's very fucked up, and it's very like just screwed up arc in general.
It's very
But it's
edgy.
also it's a very edgy arc, but it's also an arc where it's like, well, it's not fully needed. It does like I want to say it feels like a filler arc, but of all the arcs of Berserk, it is the closest feeling to a filler arc
Mm-hmm.
where
And
it's
it
not necessary. You don't really need that scene in there.
and it wasn't like the Battle of Dory, which also kind of felt a little bit like a filler arc, but that one was at least really entertaining and highlighting to the main three characters as we discussed
Mhm.
in volume
Where,
3.
yeah, each three character was going through their own thing. Like Guts was fighting the general, Costco was taking the castle, and Griffiths was fighting his past lover king, whatever the fuck he was.
Yeah, it was a very fun arc.
Hmm.
Or and so beyond that it's kind of like, well, this is a I don't know, yeah. I think I have to be on the side where if you did have to cut out one arc, it'd probably be this one.
Yeah, and I've heard some people say that online where they're like, you could read all of Berserk, but if there's one part that you could drop, it's the Wild arc. You could just
Yeah.
skip Wild.
But I think I agree with you. I think this arc just if they shifted the Casca scene a little bit more, I think it's all right now.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's like
I don't
I
know. It's
still
still
like
pretty
the scene
vile
of
and over the top, but whatever.
it is. It's
It's
very violent and over the top, but I still like the fact that it's we see Guts in a leadership position, leading an army now, and you also see Guts taking on an apostle and winning.
yeah.
Yeah, and I that to me is important traits for Guts to grow as a character.
And to show
And
how far Griffith has also fallen.
yeah, and to show how far Griffith has fallen, because Griffith is just sitting there watching this all go down.
Mm-hmm.
Where literally a year or two ago, it took both Guts and Griffith to fight Zod, and they nearly died. Now Guts is taking on an apostle by himself and is winning. And in a sense, it's to Griffith, he's like, man, I have fallen so far behind that now Guts is ahead of me. This is horrible.
Exactly so. All right, man. I don't know if I have much else to really discuss because this is our brevity period where we can make a short podcast discussion. Because last one was packed. That one nearly
Oh,
3
yeah.
hours.
The last one, a lot of shit happened in those like 3 volumes.
And the next one, I'm like, oh man, there's gonna be way too much to go over in the other one. So how about we
I don't
just
think
take?
it,
Oh,
I don't think the next one would be super long because it is the eclipse, and it's mostly just going to be the eclipse. And a lot of shit does go down, but a lot of it is just like, yeah, it's just a lot of death and a lot of horror, and it's really
okay,
bad. But
okay,
it's not. I don't think it's going to be a super long. Like it's not a whole lot of philosophical talk.
okay. I see. I see. All right then. So how about we just wrap it up?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us in our Berserk Deluxe Edition 4 discussion. I have been Hazar, and with me today was once again Kai the Crusader.
Hello. Hope you guys enjoyed. Go read Berserk.
We're
Feel
getting
free
to
to
the good
skip
part now. This is your
Wild if
last
you want, I
chance.
guess.
Yeah,
This is the good part. Please go read it.
I guess we didn't talk about it, but I only intended to do this up until Deluxe Edition 5. So the next episode will be our last one for a while. So go read Berserk now. It's like you said.
I'm hoping Deluxe Edition 5 ends after the Eclipse arc because it'd
I
be
think it
really
will.
shitty if it doesn't.
I think it will. I'll make adjustments if needed. But yes. Join us next time for Berserk Deluxe Edition 5, where we cover volumes. What was it again? 13, 14, and 15.
Mhm.
So until then, we'll see you later, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.